Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Brothers and sisters and brothers, uncles and aunts, fathers and mothers, look here. Are you ready to be motivated? Are you ready to be inspired? Are you ready to be challenged? Are you ready for some objective hate? Are you ready to change your life? We have a fiery panel. We want to thank you for our 8th annual Hip Hop Politics Conference. Give it up. All right, brother. All right, we're going to get started. We have one of the baddest newscasters, broadcasters, moguls, activists even, Roland Martin in the house. We have a fiery commentator, a fiery attorney, a thoughtful leader. We call her Tupac in a dress. Give it up for Angela Rye. We have a thoughtful brother who's been in media for over 3 decades. He is another person who has used his age and wisdom. He's been controversial, but he has used his controversy to bring attention to critical issues. He's also an educator and a very objective and thoughtful person. I get so much for him. Give it up for Mr. Troy Terrain, also known as Star. Yes. Also, how many of you all go to allhiphop.com? Give it up for entrepreneur and CEO, my man Chuck Creekmore. How many of you all know about the Hip Hop Caucus? I don't even have to say much, Gator. Give it up. Give a salute to the general himself, my man, Reverend Hugh Wood. Boricua Bonana, another activist with the Justice League. My sister, a scholar, a leader, Carmen Perez. Another general in the Army who is a phenomenal speaker. She's an activist. She, along with Carmen and my son, led a movement with Sister Linda Sarsour down from New York to Washington, D.C. The Justice League. Give it up for Tamika Mallory. We have some special guests in the house. We have Mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka. We have hip-hop artist, My Song. Give it up. We have another activist and a founding member of one of the Chicago gangs, but he's used that to turn young lives around. Give it up for my brother, Gator Bradley. And we have here on behalf of Minister Louis Farrakhan, representing the Nation of Islam, the Chief of Protocol, Sister Claudette Muhammad. Salam alaikum. Impact is in the house. We have some Hoosiers in the house too. But it doesn't matter if you're from, if you're about regionalism, Roland, if you're about the East Coast, if you're about the West Coast, if you're about the Midwest or the South, you're not ready for this movement. If you're still talking about light skin versus dark skin, you're not ready for this movement. Because we're all one people, so let's get to it. Thank you for coming out. Big Brother Roe.
All right. Certainly glad to be here. How we doing?
All right.
All right then. So apologize for being late. It's only one of me, so I had to go talk to Omari Hardwick and those brothers. So glad to be here. Now, before we start, we're going to do something special at the end. And so this is what happens when you got your own show on a black network and you actually run the show. Some black folks have shows on TV and other people tell them what to do. So on Monday, the whole show on Monday will be a recap of all of Black Caucus. So go ahead.
Wow. Come on.
Thanks, Roro.
And obviously, the best way to get on my show is to have me moderate something. So this session will be on the show. So here's what's going to happen. When we're done with the panel, I'm going to shoot the intro to the show and the close of the show with all of you. So and panelists, we're gonna all go down here, and so I'm gonna shoot the intro, and then at the end, after I say News One Now, y'all are gonna yell on TV One. So all y'all gonna be on TV. Wow. So again, so whoever's here, if y'all leave early, you ain't gonna be on TV, so you can't tell your mom and your daddy. You're gonna be on TV One. All right. So that's gonna be at the end of the panel. So when we're done, don't move, and we'll tell y'all what to do. All right. So let's get right to this discussion, and we want to talk about, obviously, this relationship between law enforcement, hip-hop community. We are operating in a different world, but I want to start it this way. And I want the panelists to talk about this. And again, no sprinkler system where I'm going to each one. Anybody can just jump in and we'll move it that way. This is the first time in the history of America that we have had this level of accountability for police. At no time in American history have we seen this level of accountability on a federal, state, and local level when it comes to police. So when you hear people say, oh, Black Lives Matter movement has no plan, it has been a failure, the reality is, without the last 3 years of activism in the streets and changing public policy, we would not be having the level of discussions from the president all the way down if it wasn't for this movement. So speak to that, how powerful it has been to be able to actually affect change even when haters say nothing has actually happened. Anybody can jump in. Anybody, anytime. Go.
I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
Testing.
Okay, can we turn the microphones on, please?
Testing. It's not working.
All right, we'll use this one for the meantime. I don't even think this one works. All right, none of these mics are working, so where's audio?
Hello. Okay. Good afternoon. The question was with regards to Black Lives Matter? Okay. I want to salute them first and foremost because at 52 years of age, many people, young people, don't know the struggle of the black experience. And it's important to know some of the groups from the past that were actually terrorist groups. Is anyone here familiar with the Weather Underground? Okay. Their mission statement clearly said once upon a time, we are not opposed to violence. They blew up buildings. They did things here in America, and we're not hunted the way that Black Lives Matter is being hunted. So I just want to support them, and I think that it's important that we, as adults, as elders, leaders, at least give them the credit in front of the younger people that seem to have such a negative reaction towards them. It's really sad to see the videos that are on YouTube and the internet with young people condemning Black Lives Matter without even giving them a chance, and again, without knowing the history of the Weather Underground and other groups that were actually terrorist groups. I just want to say that.
So I'd like to add, hello everybody, how's everyone doing? Could you hear me? No. How's everyone doing? Great. So I just kind of wanted to add, I think we're really proud to be part of the Black Lives Matter movement. There's, one of the things that I really want to make clear is that there's an organization and there's a movement, right? And a lot of us that are part of the current movement we just didn't show up. A lot of us have been organizers. We've been involved in the criminal justice system, in the work around police accountability. Accountability issues for quite some time, and we also, like myself, I work for Harry Belafonte, we also utilize the tactics from the past. We obviously work with our elders so that they could share with us what they've experienced, but we kind of add our own flavor to it. When Congressman Carson talked about us marching from New York City to DC from Staten Island where Eric Garner was killed, a lot of people said we were crazy. They're like, what you mean you're going to be walking? That's a long way. Well, we're walking with 3 criminal justice reform bills that the Gathering for Justice had been pushing for the last 11 years, right? And so for us, it's important that we also align with those that have been doing the work in the past, and that we also recruit young people to understand and also train them so that they could kind of lead the movement and use their energy to do the marches, to do the protest. But so it's also something, I think one of the other things that I want to mention is the fact that a lot of people, when we talk about haters, I played basketball. I played ball from the age of 6 all the way to college. And there are a lot of people who are on the stands who won't get their hands dirty, who won't get sweaty, and want to criticize those that are on the team and trying to make, do the jump shots and play the game. And I think nothing has changed, right? And so what I say to those is those that are criticizing are obviously not connected to young people. They're not connected to the current movement. And so I welcome those individuals to have conversations with us versus criticizing us. Let's have a one-on-one conversation about our tactics, about our ideologies, about our vision, about where we need to go versus being criticized, because what happens in regards to that is that creates division. And I learned something from Mr. Belafonte is those that are working for the liberation of our people are subject to friendship and support. Those that are being divisive are playing the enemy's game. So I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Representative Carson. Please give it up for him.
Thank you.
Yes. I've been on this panel and will continue to be on this panel, and to see this room grow. When we first started, I think we had like 2 or 3 rows, maybe. There was staffers, I think. And now we see the growth of that. I also want to give it up for Carmen, Tamika, and Angela, 3 powerful sisters who I think are leading the movement, and I thank God for them and what they are doing on their different lanes and platforms, and also the brothers on the panel as well. Let me actually say a couple of things before I get to the policy. Real quick, I'm looking for a college freshman. Right there. Are you a college freshman? What school do you go to? Can you come here for a second? Can you come here for a second? Can you come here? Yeah, come here real quick. Now, are you a real college freshman? You're not like a freshman from 4-year freshman. This is your first semester at Bowie State. Well, I want to say this because what I was, that's what's up. One of the things that we didn't get, a lot of us, from some of our elders, we didn't get some of the love. Right. And so I want to make sure now that I'm kind of I'm in like my 40s now, and I'm kind of, I guess, this elderly, kind of, sort of. Yeah. In-betweener?
You're the bridge.
I'm the bridge? Yeah. So I want to encourage you, because this is awesome, you're here at CBC. So I'm gonna seed you some for you. And that's, yeah. Thank you. So, tell me your name.
Hold up now, might be a bill in there.
It's a bill, Roland Bay. It's a good bill.
All right.
It's a few good bills, but thank you. Thank you. So, tell me your name.
Hello, my name is Janice Davis. Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
No. Thank you, Janice, and good luck. Go Bulldogs. So because I think if we do nothing else, I think what I want to hope now is that we can seed, and at the Hip Hop Caucus, my board chair is sitting there, Lita Rosario, for the Hip Hop. Yeah, give it up for Hip Hop Caucus. Definitely. That we want to seed that. So let me say this in regards to where we are. And I say this every year, but I want to make sure I continue to say this, is that we are having this, we didn't check with this thing just a minute ago. We're having this conversation at the 46th annual Congressional Black Caucus Annual Legislative Conference. That's important for us as a black people, that this is the 46th, and that we are gathering, and that we should take these gathering moments very seriously, almost to the point that we're on hallowed ground. For me, as many of you don't know me, I'm a mentee. I was mentored by Dr. Dorothy Irene Height. And so, if you know my story, I was very blessed to have her as somebody and have her shape some things. But one of the things there is that we forget when we hear what we're about. And it's about, as Carmen was just saying, that we must shape policy. Because either we shape policy or policy will shape us. And for too long, when we've had these conversations, they go off into kind of a different direction instead of what do we need to do to shape policy? What do we need to do so that there are more members in the Black Caucus than more years that we've been doing a Black Caucus? We need to be in a position so that when we can have the Raj Barakas who are here, that we can lift them up so that when they ascend to a higher level, somebody's ready to go into that seat on the mayoral level around the country. So that we can have both on the local level, on the federal level, and on the state level. We need to be able to fund our candidates. So they can speak up, not necessarily being partisan for Democrat or Republican, but being post-partisan, fighting for our community, whatever and whichever way they need to do. We also need to make sure with policy that we're not afraid to speak up for our people. It's a shame to come to a CBC and I see folks being scared. So since my brother Gator's here, let me say this. And since this is the last CBC for President Barack Obama, let me say a few things. It would be a shame that President Obama doesn't pardon Mumia. It would be a shame that President Obama doesn't pardon Leonard Pieter. It would be a shame that a number of things that we're doing for our community at HBCUs don't get some more resources in this last 90 days. It's be a shame if we don't pardon H-Rap Brown. Thank you. And so let me say this, and all those issues, and for me, it would be a shame, because I just came from, as some of you know, follow me on Twitter, I just came from Standing Rock, North Dakota. And I was there, and my brother T.C. Muhammad, who goes with me, was there as well. But it would be a shame that if we don't have a plan, if we go to the 50th anniversary, that we don't incorporate a CBC that incorporates not only just black folks, but black and brown and red and yellow, people of color, particularly those who are from our First Nations, so we can fight together and be together. Thank you.
Chuck, question for you. In terms of what do you see as what's next? Because, yes, you only have a few months left in the president's term. The commission that he put together had the recommendations when it comes to law enforcement. Depends upon who is elected. That will determine whether you stay on that same course or whether or not it veers in a totally different direction. So when it comes to this idea of law enforcement, hip-hop community, police accountability, what do you see as what's next?
Well, I feel like, what's next is we have to play the inside-outside game, because right now, obviously, we're all out. Well, I consider myself an outsider, and I think that Black Lives Matter and other similar groups are considered outsiders, agitators, protectors of the community. But I think that it's also time for us to basically infiltrate those police agencies, those political offices, those places of power where we are being marginalized, being basically assaulted, and we need to basically run for offices. We need to groom leaders who are able to have our best interests at heart, and also play the outside game as well. And so if we understand that we're at war, then we will move more strategically, more tactically, more intelligently, and we will play the game like the enemy plays the game. I think that we have to continuously remind ourselves that we are at war, and the moment we feel otherwise is the moment we lose.
Before I go to Angela, let me shout out Congresswoman Robin Kelly from Chicago. Where is she? Where's she at, man? Here, here, right? He over here passing me notes, giving shout outs. All right, Ted. Angela, when I talk about that, what's next? The reason that is important is because, again, things have happened. It's amazing when I talk to people and they say, man, I've been seeing folks protest and nothing has happened. When in reality, there are 40 new laws in 24 states.
That's right.
You would not have the number of police departments, body cameras. You now have city councils that are now looking at the police union contracts and rewording them. And so what do you say to the folks who are in the movement to keep them encouraged when other folks are saying nothing is happening, it's not improving, but also from your perspective, the what's next?
So I think the answer to my brothers and sisters in the movement, particularly Tamika and Carmen, is to do what they've been doing throughout, and that is to ignore them, right? You all began protesting because this was a burden on your heart. Tamika, this is a passion of yours. Gun violence was a passion of yours before we were having so many challenges on camera, right? We know that we've always had these challenges. We just were told we were lying, or someone got to doctor up a police report and make us look like our truth was not the real truth. However, we know that in fact is the case. We could look no further than Rodney King to know that our stories have always been real, and our folks have always been brutalized and killed by some corrupt officers. So I would say to ignore them and continue on the fight. But what I don't want to do, Roland, is answer what's next, because we have a what's now problem. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about police brutality, and I wish I was. I wish it was just one issue. But I cannot get away from the fact that we are at this conference. And we come and do this every year, not just the Hip Hop and Politics panel, which I'm very grateful for, because it gives people, young people, not me, I'm older now, I'm 36, but young people a platform and an opportunity. Don't do it. That's still older than some of the people in here. Don't do it.
Hold up,
I have gray hair.
First of all, I'm 47, and damn it, I ain't old.
Roland is old. I said I'm older. I didn't say I had an AARP card. No shade, Dad and Mom, but
There's some damn good discounts in AARP,
I'm
though.
not mad at it. I'm not mad.
Don't get it twisted now. Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Your
My
mic
bad.
is
Go.
louder than mine, and so is your mouth normally, but I need to make
my wife
point.
51. I take them discounts. Go ahead.
Okay, now I'm telling Jackie. So anyway.
She said it.
But anyway, on a really serious note, while we're sitting here, and I feel sorry for Dre, honestly, Congressman Carson, because he's in a seat where he doesn't want to leave, because this is a very important conversation for him. But while we're sitting here, his colleagues are having a press conferencing denouncing a presidential candidate, Donald J. Trump, who was the spokesperson, the lead spokesperson for the birther movement. The most racist thing we've seen in our past. People are saying, well, I don't really know if it's racist. You're trying to delegitimize 44. 44 is the first black president. The first time you really see difference, and that difference happens to look like us, you're trying to say that it's not American, it's un-American. And we built this. Gene has a t-shirt on right now. It says, we built this joint for free. So we are absolutely 100% American. So Donald Trump, even if you are out there today, beyond saying, I ain't sorry, because you didn't apologize. You just went out there parading your hotel. I hope y'all are boycotting these hotels, by the way, and everything else. His ties made in Bangladesh, his socks made somewhere not here, his beautiful wall he's trying to build, everything about him. We have a what's now problem. Donald Trump wants to be the law and order candidate, and every time law and order has come to our neighborhoods, we are incarcerated, we are hurt, we are brutalized. We can't have that. Our what's now problem is Donald Trump. And I know that I'm not supposed to do this at the CBC Foundation, but I'm a partisan even if the conference is not. We can't do this. This is not about Hillary. This is about protecting black lives, and that is not a pathway forward. So maybe we can talk about what's next after November 8th, but right now, I need y'all to go home, tell your mama, tell your friends, tell your cousins and them, or whoever. I thought you said Pookie, you said vote. Pookie too, and vote. But I need you to tell them to go vote. It's not an option, it is a requirement. I'm not gonna tell you that people died for you to do it. It's true. But like, I just need you to do it because it's the right thing. I need you to Spike Lee this election and do the right thing. And right is not Republican.
So the reason I asked that, what's next? Because for me, what's next is not the next president. It literally is the next week, hour, minute, second. And so what we're looking at right now, we talk about what has happened. I'm setting up this way because a lot of us, I'm not talking about Bill O'Reilly, I'm not talking about Sean Hannity. There are a lot of African Americans who promote the fact that nothing has happened. Marching has been ineffective. When I can tell you this here, and if Congressman Bobby Scott was in here, the bill that he had that required police to document when someone died in custody, that bill languished in the United States Senate. But it wasn't until the Black Lives Matter protest in 2014 where he went to the Senate and said, y'all got a choice. They're going to have your name on those placards if y'all don't vote. That's when they freaked out and that bill got passed and the president signed it into law. So a lot of folks out there, now, here's the issue. And that's why I keep saying it, what's next. I was interviewing a sister on my show a couple of weeks ago. The Department of Justice, they're dragging their feet on forcing the police departments to actually turn in the paperwork. So I asked this question, and I'll ask this panel. How is it that I saw LGBT folks chaining themselves to the White House fence to force this president to move, yet many of us are taking well, it's a sister attorney general, and we don't want to go at her that hard, even though in North Carolina, she threatened North Carolina to pull their federal funding if they pass that transgender bathroom bill. When are we going to demand the attorney general use the same threat to cities? If y'all don't turn in reports, we going to pull federal funding for your cities.
So I think you're absolutely right, Roland, and I like to say on behalf of Justice League, yes, when Loretta Lynch became Attorney General, it was right when Sandra Bland's death happened, and we went and protested her then. So we have not at all taken the position that because of the fact that she's the first black woman as Attorney General that we're not going to step to her, because we have and we will continue to do so. And I think you're absolutely right. But you did say something that I think is so important. And when we talk about the context of what's now and what's next, the unity piece is certainly important for us, because these same black people who in many cases are black leaders who are supposed to be supporting the Black Lives Matter movement have been the very ones out here speaking against it and trying not to support us and putting us down. Those same people are the ones that are carrying the message. And when I hear people like the commissioner in New York, what's his name? He's not Raymond Kelly anymore. What's the next one? Bratton. Same people as far as I'm concerned. But when I hear him saying things like, well, the Black Lives Matter movement, needs to take a page out of the NAACP's book, which the NAACP did push back and say, don't try to be divisive with us. But when I hear that, what I realize is that he's picking up the talking points of other black leaders that he's talking to or listening to speak about us. So when we talk about what's now is the unity breakdown within our own community, the different groups, everybody want to play each other, have shade on one another. I don't want to work with this one because they're not here, or, there are people, when you talk about the LGBTQ issue, that has been huge within the movement in terms of, well, if you don't necessarily stand up and in every press press conference, you've got to actually say, you know, we want to stop, you know, the transgender people from being killed, which of course all of us feel that way, but not everyone is at the same place at the same time. So it's a bunch of crap that we're running around with that is blocking us from being able to walk together and fight together. And that is why people know that we're broke up into all of these different silos, and they're playing us as a result of that. So when you say what's now and what's next, before we can go out and yell across the street at who needs to be doing what out there, we got some cleaning up that needs to be done within our own homes. When we come, whether it be Justice League or other groups, many groups that have been telling you that McDonald's, Starbucks, and all these other companies are paying people who are in prison between 12 and 23 cents an hour to work for them to make their hamburgers, their cups, and all these other products, and that the Constitution still currently says that if you are a prisoner or if you have committed a crime, you are not considered to be a full human. You are still a slave in this country under this Constitution right now. It says that. And when we tell you don't go buy the burger from McDonald's, and you look back at us and say, I'm not going to do that. You know, I love my burger. That's our problem. We got to be able to say in the now that when someone tells you that a credit union dropped Brandon Marshall because he decided to sit down during the national anthem, that our money can't be present in that credit union. It's not about the fact that, well, my grandmama was there and I ain't in that. No, we all got to be willing to say that Colin Kaepernick speaks for me. Nobody, don't make an excuse for anyone who speaks against him. If somebody tells you that the Black Lives Matter folks are having a march, go out there and feed them if you don't choose to march with them. But speaking against them will not get us to where it is that we want to go. So while I am extremely concerned about what XYZ person is doing, what the white man is doing, what the system is doing, I am even more concerned about what it is that black people are doing to one another and how we're going to unify.
And to piggyback off that, 'cause that's such an important piece for us, because the reality, what Tamika is saying, and for our generation, those of us who are in, I guess, this middle ground, those 30s, 40s, 50s, we realize that there are a lot of games that have been played by those before us. And they've been playing games, in other words, how they've been getting their resources and their funding, and how they're not supporting even the next generation. It's a shame, it's a damn shame when you have Black Lives Matter activists who are committing suicide because they don't have rent or they don't have money to live, but instead we have organizations who have lots of money and lots of resources and can still critique those young people. Now, this is not to pit one against the other, because the key thing here is that what we want to find is solutions. So these are my solutions in that aspect. First, so you can know what we have done, Hip Hop Caucus, when something comes up, we don't just show up and then leave. So when it was dealing with Flint and the water crisis, and then when the cameras left, we still in Flint. When Freddie Gray was killed and the DOJ reports come out, we still in Baltimore. When you're dealing with Tamir Rice, we're still in Cleveland. When you're dealing with issues from North Dakota or climate change or climate justice, wherever it is for the Clean Power Plan, we're still fighting for those issues. So let me just say, we've created things at Hip Hop Caucus that are dealing with this even when the cameras are gone. That's the first thing that we have to do, that we have to have it being for the long game, so that when the cameras come and when the cameras go, we are still around for our people. That's step one. The second thing is this, is that the reality is that even for me, right now, Hip Hop Caucus banks, we use TD Bank. We just found out that TD Bank was financing the Dakota Access Pipeline. So now I went there to TD Bank and I said, well, listen, It's hard when you get a certain size, and we got to pull our money out. That's a dreadful thing for me to go through at this time, but we have to do it. And so I'm just saying this so that if we're willing, so you don't Hip Hop Caucus, to pull our money out, then as Tamika was saying, we have to take our money out of institutions and organizations that are counter to our people. When I come and see the board, even here at CBC, it's hard for me to still seeing entities that I know are benefiting from the prison industrial complex. It's hard for me to keep seeing Exxon and Amoco and Shell and Chevron on the wall. It's hard for me to start seeing that even here, because I know he who funds you is he who controls you. So I think that for us moving forth and putting together this plan, moving from the 47th, the 48th, the 49th, and the 50th Congressional Black Caucus, I think that for us, while I agree most definitely with Angela that, we must get out and vote. And we know we have our Spend My Vote campaign, and please get out and vote. That's critical. You can vote there. You can go to spendmyvote.com and vote today in your seat if you're not registered to vote. But more importantly, we have to come together and figure out how we can support each other. And I'm gonna say this one last thing. Roland, one thing that I say, Roland, that's so important for us as a people is that in the movement, one of the things that I think that we're lacking is that, and the reason I wanted to give my decision from Bowie State that little gift at the beginning, is because the one thing that helped us as a people was love and spirituality. And if we don't use those two tools, love and spirituality, then we can count it lost now.
Before you do that, but I also, and this is where I believe self-critical comes in, but we have to always be ready for the moment. You talked about giving. I'm gonna use this for example. Tamika knows this, and Carmen knows this. So there are different times where, depending upon how I feel, I might decide to utilize my 1.4 million social media followers to say, give to this group over the next 24 hours. And folks will say, man, we raised $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. On at least 3 occasions I did that, they didn't have a mechanism to take the money. So when we talk about, I know y'all do. I know y'all do. I know y'all do. I know y'all do because I've done it. But no. But my point. But here's the piece. There were even times right after Ferguson where there were activists, some of them very prominent, who were tweeting about folks giving so they can travel and do stuff. And I said privately, you better make sure that goes through a 501c3 because the quickest way for them to come after you is to hit you with tax evasion.
That's right.
So I'm saying, when we're talking about infrastructure, we're talking about how do we keep a self-sustaining movement, we also better have all of the pieces to the mechanism in place, because there's nothing worse for somebody to say, we're going to actually seed into you, and then when it's there, then it's, oh, we don't now know what to do with the resources. So as we're talking about leaving here, make sure your stuff is in order. So if somebody says, I'm ready to hook you up, then it's like, oh, dang, we don't have our status set up. Right. We don't have the account set up. We don't have those pieces. So now you're just running around just doing stuff. Angela, go ahead with your point, please.
So very quickly, because I think it's a tangent, I had the great opportunity of working for the Congressional Black Caucus, which through its foundation, which is where we're all sitting today, taught me all about what it means to be the conscience of the Congress and gave me the inspiration to be the conscience and a voice for black folks who identify with what I have to say on air. And so I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that regardless of whoever chooses to sponsor this particular conference, my former bosses, my CBC family is still unbought and unbossed, just like Shirley Chisholm was. And she is, and there are so many members, including Andre sitting up here today, who continue to give these important voices a platform. And I think I would be remiss if I did not say that. I just mentioned that the reason why he's not at a press conference right now where they're calling out a presidential candidate who is detrimental to black people is because they're doing that right now in the middle of their conference. So I'm grateful for the CBC service and grateful that we can sit here and have this very important conversation.
So Roland, can I respond to that? I think that's indirect.
Okay,
It's not
okay. One second. Hold up. Everybody gonna breathe, because I'm about to ask my next question, which is critically important, and that is, when we talk about this point, where we are, I'm also looking at sustaining from your perspective, and I want to, because this is very difficult for a lot of us to understand. Troy, I want you to speak to this first, and then I want to go to Chuck, and that is, let's speak to, as Reverend Ewers said, the long game. Because there are a lot of folks who have decided, who jumped in this, who are burning out. And they've created following, and they're saying, look, I'm beat down. I mean, this is wearing me out. And so it's leaving gaping holes. So we're talking about police accountability, hip hop community, law enforcement, public policy. Give us your perspective of what we need to do to ensure that these leaders are taking care of themselves and then not leaving, and all of a sudden what they built up all of a sudden just goes away because they just got tired.
Well, first of all, I just want to say, allhiphop.com is black-owned media. In 2018, we'll celebrate our 20th anniversary. I say that, Roland, because that's a long time.
Yeah.
And I have seen myself wake up hating myself. I've seen myself wake up with migraine headaches. I've seen my weight go sky high, my blood pressure, just all types of ailments, right? It wasn't until...
Now, cussing people out keeps your blood pressure low.
Oh! I'm gonna have to do that.
I'm 110 over 65. I'm just letting you know, but that's just my advice. Cuss folks out, low blood pressure.
Well,
Go ahead.
I put a heavy bag in my basement.
I got you. Go ahead.
That's what I did. But I say all that to say this. I learned how to take care of myself. I learned how to work out. I learned how to take a step back and chill out. You know what I mean? So I say all that to say this. My company has always played a role in this movement as well as media. As you all know, when the brother and like Queen Yanazdaha and all the others were out there, we were one of the only people to report on that in the Dakotas with the pipeline. When Tamika calls me or Carmen calls me or Black Lives Matter needs us, we're there. And we're always there, and we'll always be there. But you have to understand that you have to take control of your situation. You have to hold on to your situation, and you have to understand the power that you hold. And if people continuously give up their power, continuously bow down to their master, whatever master that may be, whether it be the dollar or an individual, then you will always be a slave in some form or fashion. And I like my freedom, you know what I mean? So I say all that to say this, as it relates to Black Lives Matter, we have to support folks with something, whether it be the dollar, whether it be, like she said, bringing food, whether it be housing. We have to continuously support people. And mental health is something we need to discuss as well. You know, it's something we don't want to talk about. It's something we want to ignore. It's something we want to act like it doesn't exist. But if you've been through anything in life, you've thought about killing yourself. If you've been through anything in life, you know someone who has thought about killing themselves or who is walking around here with a mental disorder. seek help, get yourself some therapy,
Right.
and understand that there's nothing wrong with that.
Troy, you can speak to that because, and I know somebody might be thinking, okay, yeah, all right, but these are important issues. But the reality is, you can't be on the front lines and literally live on the front lines. Belafonte, King, Fannie Hamer, others, they all had to step away. Jesus got away from the disciples to chill. So again, because somebody out there may say, I'm ready to get in this thing, but they got to realize what they're about to get into and how taxing it is.
If I understand your question correctly, when you speak about accountability and longevity,
Accountability, longevity, but also advising the folks in here that when you decide to step in here.
I got you. I'd like to beat up on rap music, if I can, for a minute. And that's what we have today. This is not hip hop. This is rap music. Sadly, hip hop is a thing of the past. Rap music today has a different mission statement, a different objective. Excuse me. It has a different epistemology. It's different, all right. It most certainly is different. And it has a different philosophy and different principles. I feel great about moving forward longevity. I'm moving to Atlanta to purchase a small radio station. Purchase.
All right.
Now.
Okay, hold on. Before you continue, can I explain something to y'all? Okay, about 30 of y'all clap. Do y'all realize the number of very few black-owned stations now? I'm sorry. Go right ahead. I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
With regards to rap music today and longevity, as you said, Roland, as we get older, we have to want to educate the younger people because hip-hop, again, a thing of the past, and rap music today is two different things. Rap music celebrates the ignorance of the black experience. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a fact. And, art imitates life. But we now have a sad situation, and if you look at Chicago, we have drill music that is influencing the young people. We've got a sad situation where a man was watering his lawn in broad daylight, and a subhuman or a savage shot this man, and he has still not been apprehended till this day. That's a sad reality. So I look forward to getting older and steering a different course. And I really hope that people who are getting older within rap music, those of you who used to love hip-hop, and again, hip-hop's a thing of the past, but for those of you who are going forward, take notice of certain things. I have a dear friend, but she got G-checked by this man, Roland Martin. Her name is Wendy Williams. And I have to tell you, it was a beautiful G-check, and I thank you. Because when we're trying to educate young people and somebody by way of hip-hop or rap music is misleading, a G-check is a beautiful thing. I also want to acknowledge that Roland Martin G-checked Snoop Dogg. Wasn't that a beautiful G-check? Huh? How dare you say in 2016, at his age, Snoop I'm talking about, you're tired of slave movies. If you ask me, we need 2 slave movies a year. There's other cultures, without even naming them, who always say what? Don't ever forget. Don't ever forget. So moving forward, and if I'm going off course, just let me know here.
You got about 45 seconds.
Okay.
Before I go to Carmen.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is steering the genre, because hip-hop had its moments, and it was, for the most part, culturally driven. Rap music has no culture basis to it. It has no parameters, no guidelines, and no principles. Thank you.
I want to go to Carmen. And here's, now hold up. I'm going to come back to stuff, but I'm staying on this line for a reason. Because there are a lot of you out there who are going to leave here and you want to go back and you want to get involved in your community and you want to do some stuff and you want to change some stuff. But doing some stuff is not about being in front of the cameras. And the reality is, and I've personally seen it, in the last 3 years, a significant number of individuals who have been in the Black Lives Matter movement where it hit them, oh my God, the toll this is taking on me financially, personally, health-wise, mentally. And so we have to prepare. There's a reason they train folks in the military the way they do, because they're not training them for the day they run into battle. They train them that way for the day they get tired of battle. And I think a lot of times we forget this. That's why I want to hear from folks on that. So, Carmen, speak to that, and Tamika as well, as folks who are in the movement, folks who we've talked. You go through those moments when, man, I just want to just go somewhere and just chill.
Hello.
No, they still not working. Go ahead.
So I just want to thank you for that question. First of all, I will say there are many times when we wake up extremely discouraged. But, you know, I think people are always asking, what can we do? How can we get involved? And I will say, if you have some extra financial resources in your bank, please donate to our organizations and those of us that are on the front lines. Do not start a new organization. There are plenty of organizations in your community that you could connect to. There are plenty of individuals that are doing this work. As well as, you know, I also want to give it up to people like Ebro and Nessa from Hot 97 and individuals like, you know, my son, who use their art, as well as Chino XL and Ty Dolla Signs, who use their art to amplify our work, because we can't reach those masses, right? So there's a lane for everybody. If you have a special skill set, if you know about money management, or if you know how to do peace truces, or if you know how to do certain things, please lend that support to the work that we do, because we don't just need police experts or criminal justice experts in the movement. We need all of us. It's going to take all of us. Justice League is not just a criminal justice task force. Justice League is made up of civil rights leaders, of communication directors, of hip-hop artists, of those that are formerly incarcerated. We come together to build collective power because we see the value in each other, and we don't see each other as a competition. And so in regards to burnout, I will say that it's been challenging, but people like Roland Martin have supported our work, have given us a platform, have allowed us to speak on the issue that is of our expertise, and also reach the masses. But I also want to add something, just to kind of go back to what's next. I'm going to tell you what's happening this week. And so if you guys could pull out your phones, or if you guys could pull out your notepads, on September 17th, there's going to be the second National Day of Nonviolence, right? So when we're talking about solutions and what's happening, I'm giving you some solutions, right? Because I really, I don't want to use the word hate, but it's a little discouraging to hear what are people doing. Nobody cares about our community. People are only talking about police accountability, but they're not talking about brown on brown crime and black on black crime. So I'm letting you guys know that there's going to be a National Day of Nonviolence, and you guys could go to nationalstopthekilling.com or Unite or Die campaign, as well as there are artists. When we talk about merging hip hop, we talk about merging politics. There are many artists, like I work for Harry Belafonte, and he talks about his mentor, Paul Robeson. Artists are the gatekeepers to truth. They are civilization's radical voice. He's putting on a concert in Atlanta on October 1st and 2nd called A Festival of Art, Music and Justice, called Many Rivers to Cross. So if you guys would like to know more information about that, it's going to be at sankofa.org and also www.manyriversfestival.com. And that's where activists and individuals come. And so we also learned about the artivists, right? Those that have been activists and have been artists and don't have to live in this binary role. As well as I want to share with you, for those of you who are in Cali, how many of you are in California? Yeah. All right. So there's going to be...
Ain't nobody black left in California. They're all here.
Yes, they are.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But so there's a tour going on right now where artists are participating in the Schools Not Prison tour, right? That's right. And one of the stops is going to be Oxnard, California. And so if you guys want more information about who's performing with the Schools Not Prison tour, please go to their website, schoolsnotprison.vote. And their stop in Oxnard is going to be a kickoff concert for 750 people for free. Right, so we're not charging people to go to a concert and provide support. But also there's a 3-day juvenile justice conference called Growing Up Lockdown. And if you guys want more information, go to our website, gatheringforjustice.org. Thank you.
I know you ready, huh? So. I just want to say for the record that I've been at least 5 panels during this conference, and the microphones and the sound was working in all of them, and we don't appreciate that Congressman Carson's panel sound is not working, so somebody needs to really fix it quickly because this is important and people can't hear. So, and it's the most packed, that's right. But anyway, so you know what, Roland, I have to say, the pop-up art activist is also a critical issue that needs to be discussed. Now, I'm not saying that people should not get involved. But I think that when people get involved, they need to get involved and not just decide that they're going to try to take over and lead things that they have never done before and don't know what they're doing. A lot of times that becomes the issue with burnout because people decide that there's nothing that was before them, that they know everything and they're ready to start a movement and lead a movement. And people like me, who was in a civil rights organization for 14 years, executive director for 4 years before starting my own firm, they'll tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, who are you? Like, where did you come from? So the burnout a lot of times comes from the fact that when you get in this, because I don't even sleep. Like, I get 4 hours of sleep a night most times because it's rough. The week of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, I was on the floor in my house, balled up in a knot, crying, sick. And people were calling me, which leads me to my next and most important point. People were calling me, from my celebrity friends to my Link sisters to all my good, the good people, the ones that's got it going on, they living, they doing it up, and I'm proud of them. They were calling me crying too, saying, what are we supposed to do? Tell me where to go. There's nothing happening. And I was so angry. And I think I saw Erica Ford walk into this room at some point and I was so angry because, and after a while, people started telling me that I was turning folks off. I was saying to them, it's not what are we gonna do? It's a whole lot of shit going on that you haven't been a part of. We've been calling you, asking you to support us for years and years and years. Now you see the police pumping bullets into somebody's chest and you asking me, what are we gonna do? Why don't you write me a check? Because how the hell do you think I eat every damn day? So when you talk about sustainability, Chuck, he brought up an important point that I hope does not go over people's head. He said, 20 years and it's been hard. That means that instead of us running to white media, running to all these other places and supporting all these other people, allhiphop.com needs our support. And we ought to have his followers up just as high as the Kardashians and this person and that person because he supports us. And so we have to ask ourselves, do we turn on News One Now in the morning or are we watching Channel 11 News? What are we filling our children's head with? Who are we telling them are the next leaders? Because they don't know who the district attorney is in Brooklyn, who's a black man, but they could tell you about everybody's family and the Kardashians, what they do, who they are, what's being sold, what Love and Hip Hop, what's going on and all of that. That's our issue. That's back to the point about what we are doing within our own households with our own children. And just because we show up at conference, people will say, well, you preaching to the choir. Nah, some of us are doing it. Right here in this room, we go on our phone right now, and Cardi B has more followers than Angela Rye, and she's trying to tell you how to save your life. So that's the reason why there is such a significant burnout, because we're working our asses off every day to serve our communities, and people are not looking back and trying to support us. You busy getting into conversations about how so-and-so's hair ain't right, and such ain't looking good, and she too big, and this one is that, and why he don't get his teeth fixed. Meanwhile, check. Oh, that's it. See, you killing my flow, and you want to mess up. No, I'm just joking. And meanwhile, the reason why I brought up Erica Ford is because this sister is out in Queens for almost 400 days. They went with no shootings. No shootings in her neighborhood. And this is a place that had high shootings in the past. And they went all those days with no shootings, and there are times when she can't make payroll. That's our problem. That's our fault. That's our issue. It does not make sense that our black organizations and just our people in general who are working for us, you can't say when the last time you gave them $5 or $10. So when we ask about burnout and we all of these things, we want to challenge the rest of the world, we got to start looking at ourselves and figuring out how much of my time, how much of my resources are being donated and being given and volunteered to the people who are out here supporting me.
I'm going to have two more comments from panelists. Then I'm going to the floor with questions. I'm going to have a mic, so ain't no lining up. None of that sort of stuff. No, this one works. So Reverend Yearwood, go right ahead. And then Greg, I'm coming to you. Go ahead, Reverend Yearwood, go ahead.
So I want to just kind of respond to both Star and Angela.
And you have 2 minutes to respond to them.
No, this is really easy. A lot of folks say things, and I watch folks' actions. A lot of folks who have power, who are members of Congress, who have mega churches, who have a lot of things. The one person who I know in the midst of the struggle who invited us to his house and fed us was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I bring that up because the one thing about, and I'm a Christian and he's a Muslim, so this is not me saying this because I'm a Muslim, I'm saying this because of what he's done. And what he did, what he showed me as the president of the Hip Hop Caucus was that he saw the best in our people. No matter what. He always saw the best, so that when he had Snoop to his house or a Ty Dolla $ign to his house or whoever to his house, if anybody knew what they were doing, if anybody could break down the ignorance of what may be in their lyrics, it was definitely Minister Louis Farrakhan. But he still invited them to bring them because he understands that how do you go from a Cassius Clay to a Muhammad Ali? How do you allow for that person? And so for me, I just want to say this. I've been doing this for many years, and this is a little bit kind of come around all these artists. When I called T.I. to do the Respect My Vote campaign in 2008. We actually did that campaign, still doing that campaign with Charlamagne the God and Vic Mensa and Kiki and Ty Dolla $ign and others, and 2 Chainz. We did it then. I called T.I. and because we had President Obama was running for office, and people was like, wow, this is great. But then we forgot about the ex-offenders who couldn't vote, and we forgot about there was a whole community who wasn't so excited about a quote-unquote middle-class looking couple. And so I went to T.I., called him up, and actually at the time was on house arrest. And I called him and said, hey, we want you to be the spokesperson for this campaign. He's like, man, bro, I can't even leave my house. What are you talking about? Be the spokesperson. I said, no, because when you are the spokesperson on the issue of ex-offenders, then you can have an impact. People will see you and can respond to that.
Got 20 seconds.
And then from that, now you see T.I. from that moment is still doing things from that time.
Chuck?
So the one thing, this is my last 15 seconds here, Roland. The CBC, Angela, can't take money from people who are hurting our people. If that's the only way that we can serve our people by taking money from the same folks who are killing our people, then we're in the wrong.
Okay, hold up. No, hold up. Okay. So, saying don't take the money is one thing. What are you replacing it with?
There's tons of good money. There's our money. There's, for instance, taking fossil fuel money. There's clean energy money.
No,
There's not industrial complex money.
Hold
I
up.
mean,
Hold up.
If you need to get development,
Reverend Yearwood, you've made this comment several times, several years.
I'm gonna keep making it too.
No. I'm not interested in the. Hold up. I'm not interested in the comment. What I'm interested in the campaign.
Oh, we are no, definitely.
No. So what I'm saying is,
we're pushing for divestment.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, one second. Rangela, hold on. What I'm saying is, if you come back and said, the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation has taken a total of $600,000 or whatever the number is a year from these companies, then we are going to lead this campaign to raise the $600,000 so they don't have to. What I'm saying is, where's the campaign?
First of all, let's identify the money that's being taken from the sin stocks, right? And then we can then replace that money. So if you're telling me, Roland, the only way that we can continue to do what we're going to do is to take from the prison complex?
No,
take from those.
No. See, this is where, for me, you said G-check, whatever you want to call it. For me, this is accountability. Yes. I cannot say we shouldn't do this and then not say we're going to do this.
But
no. I can't. So I can't say, well, we shouldn't take this money. If we then don't say, here's how we're going to do it. Well, if we're going to say so my deal, if I'm going to tell the Black Caucus Foundation, you shouldn't take this money from these groups, they gave you this much money, then what you could come back and say, Foundation, I said you shouldn't have taken it. I went to our people, and here we had a $300,000. Are you going to stop taking their money? Here's the replacement.
So, to answer your question, yes, if the CBCF Foundation stops taking money from sin stocks, in other words, things that are hurting our prison industrial complex, fossil fuels, things that are hurting our community, then I will, Hip Hop Caucus and others will work together to replace that money with companies who are not hurting our community.
Okay, no. And what I'm saying is, no. I'm saying don't wait. See, I'm saying no. I'm saying, go to the meeting and say, I have a list of companies that I have already talked to that have pledged to donate X amount of dollars if you don't take this money. But don't say, don't take the money, then I'm going to come up with a list. Because when you have the list in hand, now they got no choice. So, hold up. And I'm going to say it right now. If you go out and find those groups and you have the list, I'll put you on Tom Joyner and TV One to tell the story, but I got to find, but let me know when y'all got the list. Text me when you got the list, because that's how you change behavior. Now, so Roland, hold up, I gotta go to the floor for questions. So here, okay, hold up. Shh, woosah. Here are the rules. I'm going back, forward, left, right. Okay? Here's the other rule. Keep your hands in your pockets. I have the mic. I don't need you holding it. Okay? So I'm back here. I need a question, not a comment, not a sermonette. I will cut you off if you got a question. Do you have a question? Name, where you from, your question.
All right, my name is Mindy. I'm with the DCVoice.com. And our question is, should more notable hip-hop figures speak up about police brutality? Is this a requirement or simply discretion?
Troy, answer the question.
This is a requirement, and let me start by saying I am the most critical, without a doubt, person with regards to hip-hop's history, and
Hold on.
and the current state of rap music. You've got an issue right now. You've got a problem. And I'm wondering why no one has addressed it yet. He's one of your lead speakers, but he doesn't vote. Talib Kweli? Why not? Why doesn't Talib Kweli lead by way of example? The black man in this country got the right to vote before the white female. Why does Talib Kweli not vote or encourage other young people to vote? If you're asking me about hip-hop or rap artists, does that answer your question? Yes?
Chuck.
Okay.
Chuck.
So yeah. So the question was, should we hold our hip hop artists accountable? Is that right? Yeah. I think the answer is yes. Right. I think the answer is absolutely yes. And I have also been very critical of hip-hop artists as well. However, I will say this. I am also a supporter of hip-hop artists who do speak up, right? So I think there's a few different layers to this, and I think that if you look, there are a lot of hip-hop artists who are saying things, right? If you're hip-hop, then you know this, right? So if you're hip-hop, as I know that I am, you know that there's an artist named Tef Poe, who was one of the first responders in St. Louis. Right. If you're not, you might be shaky. You might be looking for somebody who's not about that.
Well,
we don't want everybody to speak on issues, right? Roland, do we want everybody to speak?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, right. Okay, so people need political education before they speak.
Yes.
Right? Which is why I love that the minister speaks to the artists the way he does on their level where they are, so that they can have the opportunity to evolve.
I mean, first of all, enlightenment does help because so for instance, when Lil Wayne just went on Fox Sports, and I was very nice. I was very nice to him on Twitter.
Right.
But again,
could you please G-check Lil Wayne, please? Please G-check him.
I did.
Thank you.
But I'm waiting him to respond, and also I checked Bow Wow. He asked for my number 2 months ago. He ain't called. Oh, but I'm gonna call him out again. But my point there is, enlightenment does matter. Now, what happens after that is now up to that particular artist. So yes, you're absolutely right.
Respect. Look, wait, real quick. There are people like Brother Yearwood does Respect My Vote. We have to support the movements that hip hop.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm just saying that when an artist goes on and says, "Oh, when I see white fans in the audience, racism is over."
But
no. When the reality is, Harry Belafonte wrote in his book, he had an all-white audience he was singing to in Chicago, couldn't go through the front door. We always been singing in front of all white folks. We've always sang in front of all white folks. So let me go to the next question. Put your hands down.
Thank you. Peace and respect to the panel. As another activist that's heavily involved and invested in California, in the Inland Empire, thank you. You're right, we are outnumbered out there. There's a very large Latino population, and I personally, as a child of God, first and foremost, I love all people, but Black Lives Matter, and this is a segregated moment in history for us to really take claim to the issues and bring light to those and, educate people about those and advocate for change. So do you guys have any suggestions on how you can not appear to be divisive when it comes to the Latino population, especially when there's things like in the penitentiary, we know that shots are called and things, and then we have Latino and African American tensions that are not, kind of, I'm getting.
I got you.
But, any advice or feedback on how to navigate through that with the Black and Brown movement while still keeping relevance for the Black?
And I want Carmen to answer that first, because folks have said, "How dare you be involved?" So go right ahead.
So thank you for that question. And I'm a Chicana woman who's involved in the Black Lives Matter because I believe the liberation of Black people, once Black people are free, then my people are going to be free. And if I'm born in the United States of America, the civil rights movement is part of my history. And what I will say to my Latino brothers and sisters do we have any brothers and sisters that are Latino here? All right, thank you for being here. But what I will say is the fact that Latin America has been whitewashed, right? There is white supremacy all over Latin America, and there's an erasure of Blackness in our culture. So in California, oftentimes Mexicans don't know that they also have Black blood in them, right? The slaves didn't just land in America. They went to Latin America and they dropped more individuals that weren't even slaves, right? But that they enslaved. And so oftentimes what happens is that a lot of our people don't even know we have black blood in us. There's an erasure of blackness in Latin America, and Latinos are going to be, and they call, I know a lot of folks call themselves Hispanic, but I'm not from Spain. I didn't originate from Spain. My people are a rapage, right, of Spaniards and indigenous and black folks. But I will tell you that one of the things that I try to do is merge those tensions. And unfortunately, because of the system, the prison system in California, that's what really creates a lot of the divisiveness that then flows back into our communities. But there's ways in which we could come together collectively and really share history, learn not only the history of our own people, but the history of the United States, where black history is also part of who we are.
All right.
All right, Congressman Cedric Richmond's in the house. Just wanted to give him a shout out.
Congressman Cedric Richmond, where you at? You bring some gumbo? Some etouffee? Okay, all right. There you go. Question.
Yes, my name is Harold Coleman from Detroit, Michigan. What role can the hip-hop culture and industry go about educating and showing our young people and beyond? The only way we're going to get generational change is after the age of 18, voting in every single election, from your local election, your midterm election, and not just the presidential election. How are we going to be able to get change? Because that is the only way, not just marching, but being able to understand that you need 218 votes in the U.S. House of Representatives to pass a bill, 60 in the United States Senate, and knowing who your actual majority leaders are, like Mitch McConnell. Most people probably don't know that he's the Senate majority. So this education and beyond, how can we reach these people?
Well, first of all, let's see, Angela, I want you to answer that question, because we've actually seen this. Yes, we've actually seen this. Anita Alvarez was booted out, Cook County State's Attorney in Chicago. Tim McGinty was booted out as DA in Cuyahoga County. And then you also had Thompson in Brooklyn as well. And so I think we've seen an awakening of people are now seeing. Also, Angela Corey was just beaten in Florida in the Republican primary. So we're seeing folks realize how those local elections matter as well. But go ahead and speak to that.
I feel like you just answered that question.
No, but you can add to it.
So one, I think I kind of want to take a different approach to this question, because this is now my fourth panel where some aspect of this has come up. And I know you all said I'm not old, but I still am older on the spectrum of some of the participants in the conference when you're talking about emerging leaders. And we constantly have this dialogue going about what can we do to get young people to do this or to get young people to do that. And Carmen and Tamika are the faces of young people who are getting us to pay attention and to take action and to vote and to move and utilize our various platforms to influence processes. So I think it's very, very important for us to know that it's not us getting young people to do anything. We need to hear young people, hear what they're telling us are the issues, hear what they're telling us are their challenges, hear what they're telling us moves them to vote. We were talking about yesterday just about what type of inspiration is needed. It's not about saying, oh, how do we get these millennials to do things like we've always done them? It's about utilizing the things that influence them to do whatever it is they need to do, including vote.
Question.
Oh, thank you. Goodness gracious. Sorry, I got a little nervous. Okay. Young Thug has refused to speak on social justice matters on the red carpet. Lil Wayne had that deplorable comment that Brother Martin had spoke about. But recently, an artist by the name of Lil Yachty deplorably defined hip-hop as a genre of music where you can just simply make ad-libs throughout the whole song. Now, what do we do to counter that rhetoric when the African American History Museum opens and there's a little youngin' asking about hip-hop and history?
Who wants it?
I'll take that. I've been speaking about, maybe for a good 15 years, the need for a hip-hop or rap media council. You need one. You most certainly need one. I think all these people up on the panel here, excluding myself, because I'm too critical, and I'll be honest with you, are capable of formulating a rap media council to speak to certain things with regards to the genre of the babies leading the babies. And once you can develop a cure. I'm sorry, you can't develop a cure until you determine the sickness. And you have to lead them. 1996, if I can just point something out here for a second. Michael Jackson, biggest in the world, put a song out, They Don't Care About Us. And I'm not going to repeat the lyrics, but he made some statements, lyrics, that were perceived as anti-Semitic. A good friend of mine was vice president of A&R at Epic Records at the time. He called me and said, hey man, this place has been turned upside down by 10 mothers. That's all, just 10 mothers who stormed up to Epic Records, turned it upside down, made Michael Jackson apologize, made Epic Records apologize. 2 people resigned, executives, because they had a council of sorts. So I hope that answers your question. I think there's a need for a, whether you call it hip-hop or rap media council, to give direction or to speak to certain things that reflect negatively upon things like what you just said. YG, did you say his name was? YG was the artist? Lil Yachty. Who's right, by the way? He's right, sadly.
Why do you care about Lil Yachty? That's what I want to say.
Wait, can I just, Roland, before you go to the next person, I just want to make sure we'd be remiss in this room, particularly with 2 members of Justice League being here, not to mention that one of our artists who is known all over the world, my son Lennon, is in the room, my son, the NY General, and I don't know if you want to answer this question as an artist who is particularly working within the movement, but I certainly would like to give my time to allow him to be able to answer that.
All right, 90 seconds, batter up. 90 seconds, batter up.
The reality is, us as adults, older adults, we have to monitor what our children listen to. We have to teach our children what is the difference between entertainment and real life. Because when you allow these artists to raise your children, then we get our kids killing our kids in our community. Because we can't sit there and ignore. I did 7 years in prison. And I realized that what I was taught that got me in prison, I learned from the wrong type of music and the wrong type of individuals. So when we sit here and act like because somebody's just talking, our biggest leaders are people who speak. Orators lead us, lead the world. So if we don't look at our hip-hop artists the same way, then we fooling ourselves. So when you allow little Young Thug and Lil Wayne and them to talk about killing and drugs and all that, and wind up and that's in your household, and your kids is listening to it, and you find out that they on drugs or they shot somebody, that's your fault. You can't blame these kids. You cannot blame these kids. You have to monitor and make sure you are aware of what your children is listening to. And you can't even you shouldn't even allow them to listen to half of these artists, because they doing nothing but leading them down the wrong path.
All right. I got a question on this side over here.
Thank you.
Question.
How you doing? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Remus Wright from Houston, Texas. This is kind of to Mr. Troy. I respect what you do. I appreciate and respect what you do. I kind of took issue with you saying about the rap and hip hop.
Specifically what?
Specifically that all of it has no decency and bounds. This past week, a man by the name of Chance the Rapper has recently decided to register voters at every single one of his concerts.
Right.
So that's one of the younger generations serving and showing and reaching out to the black community. So my question, which will also go to you as well, Mr. Chuck, was what are some of the things that you see from the younger generation of rappers, hip-hop artists, whatever you may call them, that actually specifically reaches out to this black community in a positive way?
All right.
Look, there's a misconception.
And I have a total of 2 minutes responses, because I want to get to more questions. So 2 minutes between
Listen,
both of you. Go ahead.
We spend too much time on the artists that we don't like. Spend some time on the artists that you do like, that the artists that you love, that the artists that represent what you want. Nick Grant, Esham Burgundy, Tef Poe, Jasiri X. There are a plethora of artists that we need to support. I don't understand why we focusing on Lil Yachty, Lil Wayne, all these artists that we are mad at. Take your money out your pocket, go in your car and go to their show, support those artists, support the media that supports those artists.
All right, hold on,
real quick. No, I have to say this real quick. Think about why these artists are blowing up. You want to know why they're blowing up? Because people who aren't in our communities are putting them on their magazine covers, are giving them a whole lot of coverage and telling you that they're hip hop, and they're not hip hop.
Okay. Troy?
And I'm
I got
wait a minute.
no,
I'm
no,
tired of
no,
the
no, no,
culture
no, no,
vultures.
no. I got it. But I need to get him to quickly respond. 1 minute.
Okay.
And then I got next question.
Do you want me to respond to your?
Yes.
Okay. I said today's rap music has no parameters, no guidelines. I didn't say all of it is negative, but I will say most of it.
That's true.
I'll say 95% of it is garbage.
That's not true, Troy.
That's my opinion. Excuse me.
Okay.
I understand.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
That's the radio.
No, that's my opinion. Please back up off me. That's my opinion. I'm 52 years of age. I'm proud to be the age that I am. I'm not an overgrown adolescent. Hip-hop rap music celebrates the ignorance for the most part. That's a fact, whether you like it or not.
So one of the things.
Okay.
I worked for Clear Channel. I took millions.
Yes, let's get that.
I
So
took
let's start
blood money.
So let's start there, though.
Oh, yeah.
But let's start there.
Well,
because
excuse me.
the
Excuse me.
director
Let me
of
finish this
Hold
question.
on.
Let me finish
John,
this question.
Reverend Whittier, wait 1 second.
Okay.
Now,
30 seconds.
Capitalism is a beautiful system, value for value. But you have to have guidelines, parameters, and ethics and morals and values. You don't have that for the most part in rap music. I'm sorry. That's the reality.
And to your point, there were some guidelines when they never put that Michael Jackson song out and made him apologize.
That's right.
Reverend Yearwood, 30 seconds, and I got next
So
question.
Lisa Fager here, who is the director of public policy for the Hip Hop Caucus, also runs an organization called Industry Ears. It's an amazing organization. One of the things they talk about is also holding the radio stations accountable, because a lot of times this music that's being played at 9 a.m. when kids are going to school is adult music. So when a child hears skeet, skeet, skeet at 9 a.m., that's being played, that's being programmed. So again, we need to hold the star, we need to hold the Clear channels accountable and the Radio Ones accountable who are playing this music to our children.
Got it. All right,
and not playing the conscious music.
So I'm going to the question back here. Hold on. But I have a question for all of you. How many people, I got you, stay right there. How many people in here lead an organization? Okay. How many of you here who lead an organization send out a weekly email to all of your members? Go ahead. Now, hold up. Now I'm going to ask, how many of you send out a weekly email or text message saying, buy this conscious rapper's music?
We do that.
I put it on my site.
Hold up.
Caucus.
1,
You go caucus.
2, 3. So here's my point. No. Follow me here. Whole bunch of folks clapped on what we need. Whole bunch of hands went up on folks who lead organizations. You have capacity to actually impact the sales and promote those individuals, and you're not even using your own existing organizations. So maybe if you did that, if you said once a week, we're going to send out to all of our members, buy this person's music, then you might change what folks are hearing. And if they get more sales, they'll get more radio play. So if we use our collective power, if you are Delta, and you raise your hand. If you are AKA, raise your hand. Zeta, Sigma Gamma Rho, y'all should, y'all, no, follow me here. Y'all should be asking your national leadership, why aren't they doing this? Because your organizations alone could literally move 100,000 copies a week. That's called homework. Question. I got you, man. It's all good. I got this.
Quick context.
Put that hand down.
Quick context. The Dakota Access Pipeline is going to pump 500,000 gallons.
Okay. It ain't my problem with the mic.
All right. So, Dakota Access Pipeline is going to pump 500,000 gallons a day across the Missouri River. If that pipeline were to leak into the Missouri River, which then drains into the Mississippi River, my question is, Reverend Yearwood, can you foresee if the Dakota Access Pipeline were to leak, can you foresee 5,000 Flint, Michigans occurring? And by the way, for your TV network, Mr. Martin, no DAPL.
No what?
DAPL. Dakota Pipeline Access. You got it informed?
No. Don't just be dropping a damn acronym we ain't never heard of. Now, hold up. I got you. But damn it, we know CBC, NAACP. We know all them. But ain't like no DAPL on our damn mind. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Yes, and you're correct. The question is, if I'm correct, what he was saying.
So the question was, do you foresee if there's a leak through this pipeline, if it actually gets approved and it goes down to the Mississippi River and there's a leak, do we foresee about 300 more times, 500 more times Flints, thousands of Flints across the country based on this? Oh, yeah. And I also want to raise up Queen
Well, hell, just answer the question, Carmen.
Yeah. Well,
Just
Queen
answer the
Yanaza
question.
is there actually in the Dakota. She's an awesome hip hop activist. Yeah, give it for her. She's actually very important doing the work. Yes, and you are right. That will happen. And to further your point, the question is that pipeline that will affect those who are in North Dakota, that will go all the way to Rolandstown, home state of Illinois. You're right. That those refineries, that Marathon refinery, who's part of that, is in Detroit, give the children asthma and cancer. That same refinery that's put forth by Enbridge and others, Sunoco, that is the same pipeline that will cause tremendous harm. And I think for us as a CBC or as folks, I think it's very important, and we should commend President Obama to being one of the most greenest, most climate change fighting presidents ever in the history of this country.
All right, okay, so listen up. It's 3:14. I'm trying to get as many questions as possible. Question, answer, so I can get. So I want to get at least 5 more questions. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Patricia Medina on behalf of Coalition of the Minds. My question is in regards to repairing the strained relation between law enforcement and the black community. How can this be done on a state, county, or city level when some of us live in cities or counties where our black males are clear targets? And as a mother, how can I show trust for cops who clearly show no care or concern for our communities?
All right, who wants to answer that?
So I will say, currently right now we're working in Oxnard and we're working on building this conference, and what's really interesting is that the police department is at the table, and I've worked in Santa Cruz County on reducing racial disparities, and the police department was never at the table. I've also worked in New York, right, and the commissioner is obviously not going to be at the table because he does not see he doesn't see the fact that there should be a relationship between community and police officers or even activists. He's put a lot of just shame on our name in New York City. And so I think the leadership has to be willing to sit at the table to actually build those relationships, and there needs to be a cultural shift within the department. But what I will say as a parent is to go to your local precinct or local police department, introduce yourself. If there's a resource officer at the school where your children attend, introduce yourself, try to figure out how to build that relationship, because we can't constantly be preaching to the choir around reform if they're not going to sit at the table to actually listen to what we're actually wanting to implement. So.
All right.
Can I add to that?
Yes, go.
You have to vote locally. You have to. You have to. Patrick Lynch is the PBA president in New York City. Yes, Carmen?
Yep.
Yeah. He's ignorant. He's not educated. He comes from a line of ignorant police officers.
He's a racist.
He's a racist.
Yes, yes. You have to vote locally. And you have to understand why or how important your vote is here in America. You know, England, the greatest colonizers, rapists, robbers, they had the sense back in 1829 to create something called the Metropolitan Police Act to prevent their police, or bobbies as they call them, from carrying guns locally. Now, they have access to guns if things get out of hand, but they have the sense not to allow the police to carry guns. We also have to vote locally to get rid of the grand jury process. That's been outlawed in many, many countries. Many countries. England even calls it a medieval process still. So voting locally is, in my opinion, the best way to address what you just said. And also, again, I'm going to say that in order to develop a cure, you have to admit the sickness. And rap music is sick.
Got it.
It's sick.
But let me add this. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Shh. But I have to add this. And this to me is one of the most fundamental mistakes that we keep making. It's not just voting. It's what you do after election day. Exactly. Right. Because part of the problem is, and I'm going to phrase it this way. Within 60 days of the president's inauguration, he was presented with a 54-page agenda from LGBT folks. 54 pages. Black leadership held their meeting 5 years after the inauguration. 5 years. On the local level, same thing. So what happens is we should look at the election as the end of one process and the beginning of another. So if we're not going to the council hearings and the committee hearings, and if they're not seeing us, then there's no shock. Nothing happens 2 and 4 years later. Then they come with new promises, because our mobilization activation has to happen after the election as well.
So I want to add to what Roland just said. I've been saying this for so long. We need to build a black and brown agenda. We need to develop strategies and talk about what implementation looks like. And I welcome anybody here who wants to help build that agenda to hit me up after this panel.
And let's be clear, most agendas are created before the election.
That's right.
Not after the election. And so they activate the election, so when a new Congress comes in, they got the plan before day one. That's what you gotta do. Question.
Hi, my name is Crescent Muhammad. I'm one of those black people still live in LA, just so you know.
5 of y'all?
6.
Tell Magic Hey.
No.
I'm going to go on here.
So I have a statement and a question.
No, you got a question.
All right, well, the hip hop, thank you for bringing up Chance the Rapper. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I do think that we still need to think about all of us working together, right? I checked Lil Wayne on my Facebook page. He may not have saw it, but I did it. I was like, I get that you might not get what's going on, but don't be an obstacle. So that's my issue. Okay. Shaq as well, not understanding what Colin's trying to do, don't be an obstacle. So speaking of not being an obstacle, am I the only person who thinks that someone like a Mark Lamont Hill saying he's voting for the Green Party and he's not checking for Hillary, I'm with her, and he's okay with Trump in office for 4 years because he wants that revolution? No, the revolution needed to start 4 years ago, right? So we need to get Hillary in office and continue to do the work, as you just pointed out. Mark Lamont Hill has a real legit platform. That's a very well-educated brother talking about, I'm okay with that crazy man in office. Am I the only one who has a problem with this?
He's also excuse me, just really quick. Just
all right,
because
go ahead.
Is not
Angela, go ahead.
Mark is not here to defend himself. Mark is actually he's a Green Party member, so that's why he said that. Now he and I have debated the latter part, but I'll leave that to family talk. We debated the latter part, but I will say that he is a registered Green Party member, all about the Green Party. That's his call. So I don't want to attack Dr. Hill while he's not here, but I did want to respond to you just on a strictly fact-checking basis. He is in the Green Party.
Come on. She said she raised her hand first, but come to me. You just gave yourself up. Question.
First, very nice meeting you. My question is, speaking on how we look at hip-hop music and rap music, especially making the comment that was made earlier about rap music. There was criticism of of Bach, Beethoven. There was criticism of jazz music, rock and roll. There was criticism of gospel music. There was criticism of rhythm and blues. Now, I come from a family of many musicologists. My father's been a DJ for 40 years in Houston, Texas.
Question.
Now, my question is, how do we get our leaders that we send to Congress to understand that rap music and those who have a voice are speaking about our pain and not take on that Eurocentric look at our music as a distaste for how we express our pain. Yes, brothers got stuff to say about our sisters because our sisters are foul sometimes, okay? Sisters.
And hold up. Everybody, hold up. Calm down. Hey, calm down. Hold up. Shh. Hold up. I got this, baby. Shh. I got this. Shh. Y'all know it's some foul sisters, it's some foul brothers. So, are we cool on foul? Now, I need you to get your question in 10 seconds.
That's it. My question, so I'm just saying we are speaking on pain, but it's a Eurocentric point of view to look at it is with distaste and not see that there's pain, and maybe our representatives need to speak with these people.
Got it.
To get that pain.
Okay, I got it.
So, in regards to...
I still know what the hell she said.
Yeah, no.
With a question.
So Roland, let me...
But, who wants to answer that?
I'll take that
question?
So Roland, one of the things I think that's there in regards to hip hop and rap music, and I would be remiss if I would just continue to say that yes, there is music out there, not only rap but country. There's rock. There's all kinds of music that is deplorable. So that's the people turn around on that. The deplorable. Right? There is music out there that's not good but for us, I think it hurts me a little bit to actually know, for me to be around brothers like Common, to be around, sisters like Keke Palmer, to be around so many artists who are Vic Mensa, Masan, Jashiri X. I was with Immortal Technique this last week. And so it kind of hurts me in a little bit to kind of hear us in this panel only going just for Lil Yachty and Lil Wayne, and that's just tough. I would just say that for those of us who are probably new to hip hop or rap or listening to only what they hear on the radio, on Clear Channel or whatever they want to hear on, I would hope that you listen to the entire genre before you speak on the genre.
Okay?
I think that's important.
Okay,
Roland,
all right.
Roland, can we just please acknowledge that I have to go back to New York. Councilman Jumaane Williams is here. He led the fight against stop and frisk. So when you heard that stop and frisk ended in New York, Jumaane Williams is responsible.
All right, here we go. All right, I got a question. Literally, I'm taking this question and one more. You got to keep it tight. Question.
Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Kelly, coming to you from Central Florida. I specifically service people that live in poverty. And what I found is perception is everything. What can we do to change the perception that they will never know enough to not just vote, but to make an educated vote, that their lives will never, ever matter, so why should they do anything differently? Thank you.
All right. Who wants that?
Please.
Well, I think that goes into holding elected officials accountable. Far too often we see politicians show up to our churches, synagogues, mosques, community centers when their poll numbers are tight, and after we vote them into office, they vote against our interests.
Yes.
But if we're unwilling to hold them accountable, then we'll continue to have the status quo. And those who are in office doing the right thing should have regular town halls and forums where they're educating the public about the political process.
Question.
My name is...
What?
My name is Dashan Farad. I'm a reporter for YourBlackWorld.com, and I also write for AllHipHop.com. I would like to know, do any of the panelists feel that the United States government is at all targeting our black leadership, such as Black Lives Matter and the Justice League, and hip-hop artists as it did during the 60s and 70s counterintelligence program agenda?
All right, who wants that?
Yes,
Carmen,
yes,
Carmen.
yes, yes, yes.
All right, well, y'all done answered that question.
Yes.
All right. Well, so that's a collective yes. So here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I need final comment, 30 seconds each. But this is what I want. I want each one of you to lay out what do you want, folks. I don't care what it is. What's the one thing you want them to do when they leave here, whether it's starting the moment they walk out of their room or when they get home. I will start with Chuck.
I want you to support hip-hop music. Support it. It is not someone else's music. It is still our music. We don't want hip-hop to be jazz, what jazz is. We want it to stay in our community. People are making billions and billions and billions of dollars off of it. It's ours. We need to support it. Support the artists. Stop focusing on the ones you hate and devote that energy to the ones you love. And please support allhiphop.com as well as your black-owned, community-based Newark, New Jersey website. Thank you.
All right. Angela.
So I think this is very simple, and to at least Tamika, this will be familiar. I recently gave like a TED-style talk on Centric, the Round, and Tamika gave one. Also, I encourage you to look it up. It's about her passion, her life's passion, and my talk was on our freedom agenda. And one of the key points from that talk, and Roland, I'm really glad that this was your last question, and this is, you're always on this same theme about us leaving from conferences like this and having real action items. And the one thing that I said is, let's use Bernie Sanders math. And if we use Bernie Sanders math, just in this instance, if this is no shade to folks who are with her, I don't feel the burn, it's just his math. He talked often about having an average donation of how much? $27. He was on message, wasn't he? Of $27. And in this country, there are 46 million black people. And let's decide 1 million of us aren't going to give that $27. But if 45 million of us gave $27 one time, that puts us over $1.2 trillion. That is greater than the size of New York's economy. $1.2 trillion if you gave a Tubman and $7 more. Please think about doing that.
All right. Tamika.
I guess, and I thought Angela was going to hit this, but she's been pushing me on it. I think if it's one thing I could say in 30 seconds is that people need to know who is down the ballot in their cities. People need to focus a little less on the presidential campaign and be more focused on who is running for Congress and Senate and all these other races that are happening. So if for whatever, in your states, so if for whatever reason you decide that you don't want to vote for the president, that does not mean that you should not show up still to vote down the ballot for other people who are running on the ticket in this election. And that's it.
All right then, Troy, 30 seconds. The one thing you want folks to do leaving here.
I look forward to the day when Black Lives Matter, and I will support them, by the way, when they regulate what's put out across the airwaves to your babies and the young people that listen to rap music. I look forward to that day. It has to be addressed, the theme of the music, of the lyrics. I could go down a list of things that I have exposed, people that I've exposed, but it needs to be regulated because you can't go on Ryan Seacrest's show and talk about fighting and shooting somebody. You can't go on Rush Limbaugh's show and talk about who you got beef with, and when you see them, you're going to punch them in their face. It won't make it to the airwaves. So I look forward to that day, and again, I will support them, and I think that that's important to know in terms of moving forward.
Reverend Yearwood, one thing.
For those who are interested in working with us on the divest and invest part for this, you can hit us up at the Hip Hop Caucus. You can see us also if you, we're hiring, Roland. And we're at Brother T.C. Muhammad right there. You can see him. If you're looking for we're hiring. We actually have full health care too for our folks. So we're hiring. If you just want to send your resume, so send it to resume@hiphopcaucus.org.
That's your what? That's your what's next?
Yes, yeah, we're hiring, giving jobs.
Okay, gotcha. No, that's
jobs. We're hiring activists to be activists.
Gotcha. Carmen. Carmen.
So I will just encourage people to suspend their first judgment and gather more information. I think oftentimes we look at each other and we make assumptions about one another, and we talk about and generalize statements like certain things don't work in our lives anymore, but I really encourage you all to do that, as well as to get connected to your local organizing groups, to your local activists, as well as your local politics. And I also encourage our elders, encourage people to talk to young folks. The reason I'm standing and sitting right here is because I have a council of elders that constantly are in my ear. And so please go out and mentor somebody.
Okay, so what is the Justice League website?
It's gatheringforjustice.org. Please support our work, gatheringforjustice.org. Justice League is, Justice League NYC is one of the initiatives, and Justice League California is coming to your state soon.
All right, so my one thing, and Angela says it, and I do the same thing every year, don't sit in this room and clap about collective and clap about how we need to pool resources, and don't clap how we need to get involved if you actually don't do it. This room has a capacity of 400, and there are more than 400 people. So what I want you to do is this here. Whether it's Justice League, whether it's Reverend Yearwood's organization, whether it's either one you know, this is the only commitment I want you to make. And that is, and Angela gave a number, I want you to just do this commitment. Now, I can't check up on you, but I want you to decide $30. It's $1 a day. That's all. That's all I'm asking you to do. Some of you may have never given before. I spoke at Norfolk State on Wednesday, and there were 50 students who stood up. And I asked the president, I said, if they gave $20 each, what does that get me? He said, I could actually keep one kid in school. So $30. So when you leave here, you decide where you want to send your money. They got websites, they got PayPal. That's all I'm asking you to do, because if you sat in this room and you clapped and you cheered and you snapped your fingers and said, yeah, that's right, and you leave here and you give nothing, you the damn problem. You the problem. So, all right, so here's the deal. We got, first of all, round of applause for our panel. Round of applause for Congressman Carson. All right, hold on. 2 things about to happen. We're about to have a song, Black Lives Matter song.
Yes.
But then, as soon as that's done, short song? Cool, spoken words, even shorter. Then we're gonna do the piece for the television show, okay? Woo. And so y'all stay seated. Panel, y'all gonna come right down here.
All right.
We're gonna do that after, but go right ahead.
Want to thank the entire staff, Omer, good work. Give it up for Team Carson, all the panelists. Thank you, everybody. Big Brother Rowe, thank you. All right.
Hello?
All right.
Go ahead. They're doing something else.
Black Lives Matter. They ask, why is that a statement that even needs to be made? I say, well, that's a good question, but first, we have to ask, why would anyone believe that we would need to be slaves? Explain to me, please, Why is the black man dying at the rate of an endangered species? I say, see, it's because we've normalized abnormality. You see, we've allowed this land of the free to lock up and cage our morality. So now we can casually see the casualty of a black man the same way we see a video game where the ghost monsters kill Pac-Man, or a fly swatted by a backhand. Eric Garner got choked on camera. What happened to the justice for that man? You see, Black Lives Matter, it's a movement of affirmation. It's us making a statement to inform the nation that a black life cannot be taken without someone being held accountable. You see, we are no longer allowing you to tell a mother that the life that came out of you is insignificant, then tell a cop that killed their kid that we are proud of you. It's unacceptable. You see, it's unconceptual to get shut down in your vestibule by the ones who are supposed to be protecting you. But then I reckon you'll say, but what about black on black crime? You see, blacks kill more blacks than anybody, and the stats support those facts fine. But that's if you're trying to rationalize someone who's been traumatized. You see, before 4, they had to endure more acts of homicide than a soldier going to war, so I'm gonna have to apologize on their behalf because their brain's been sodomized. They've been taught to idolize money, so now they itemize. Now trying to rise, so now their lives are worth less than some dollar fries from mama's fries inside their eyes because they have been lied to. So somebody tell Ray Lewis that black on black crime is derivative. And if you don't give these kids no hope or no food, they're gonna find a way to get it then. You see, living in the ghetto, we get it, man. You either gonna rap, you gonna play ball, or you gonna die or go to prison in it. They building a prison right now. Who the hell you think gonna live in it? I don't mean no disrespect. Hope no one taking offense. But if you don't understand racism, nothing I'm saying is gonna make sense. But Black Lives Matter, that's self-explanatory. We're telling you that black lives have value. We ain't asking, it's mandatory. That's why I stand here the way Dr. King took a stand before me. It was more than a dream, no, that's just half the story. He had a plan for glory and equality. You see, he wanted blacks and whites to live together in conditions of equal quality. So the him inside of me is seeking the same thing. That's why I'm up here speaking, hoping I'm reaching someone who eventually could change things, because we hold the keys to transforming this racism in all its degrees. So please, take heed, because the fact of the matter is we can't say all lives until black lives matter.
All right.